The great Bruce Lee once said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." It's a quote that reinforces the idea that as long as you are really good at one thing, you can be a threat. Take Arjen Robben for example. He was a great player, but what made him world class was that no defender in the world could stop him from cutting in on his left foot and taking a shot on goal. Almost every great player has a signature move or skill, and these are 8 of the best in football history. Where else to begin than with the godfather of modern football, Johan Cruyff. Cruyff was one of the greatest brains that the footballing world has ever seen. The Dutchman saw the game in ways that others didn't, and has an incredibly impressive legacy, as both a player and a manager. But even if somehow you haven't heard of the man, chances are you've heard of or seen the Cruyff turn. The Cruyff turn is a deceivingly simple move that involves faking a pass or shot and dragging the ball behind your standing leg with the inside of your foot. As you do so, you turn your shoulders and dribble off in the opposite direction. Although today's football is littered with tricks and flair, this was not always the case and was part of the reason the turn was so effective. Most fans and players had never seen anything like it before. Cruyff debuted the move in the 1974 World Cup, and despite not being the first to ever do it, he certainly brought it to the masses. It's unbelievably straightforward, yet it works to an incredible degree, and is still a staple in the modern game.
Tracking it down, Messi, but he can't find the opening. Back to his right.
There's no space. There's no time. And that means nothing to Messi.
The next move on this list is less well known, but just as iconic. It's the showboat king Curlon and his seal dribble. The seal dribble involves flicking the ball up from the ground and proceeding to bounce the ball on your head like a performing seal, all whilst running past opponents and making it very hard for the defending team to get the ball off you. The Brazilian would wind up defenders on the regular, and it's no surprise opposition players hated the move, with his runs almost always ending in a foul. On one occasion, Curlon was elbowed in the face by Atletico Mineiro's Coelho, who ended up being banned for 120 days. Curlon himself didn't have the career that many thought he would when he first burst onto the scene, never making an appearance for the national team's senior side. But with the seal dribble still firmly etched into the memory of longtime football fans, he's ensured his legacy. And just in case you were wondering why no player has really attempted it since, it's because of the absolute mayhem Curlon caused when performing the seal dribble and the danger it brought upon him. Nowadays, a referee can decide to award a free kick to the opposition should a player attempt a seal dribble in a manner that risks injury, and can caution the seal dribbler for unsporting behaviour and for showing a lack of respect for the game.
Oh. Bit of fun for Nani. Well, professionals don't like that when players turn on a little bit of circus stuff, and there were 2 Arsenal men after Nani there. They didn't like it. They didn't like this.
Moving on to another Brazilian, we have Ronaldinho and the Elastico, also known as the flip-flap or the snake bite. Now of course, Ronaldinho had an extensive arsenal of moves to both wow the crowd and break defenders' ankles, but none were as effective as the Elastico. While he didn't invent the move himself, he did perfect it, and there wasn't a footballer on the planet that could defend it. It requires both incredible footwork and the ability to accelerate rapidly. So Ronaldinho was made for it.
Ronaldinho. This guy,
where is he?
For 2 years, 2 or 3 years, the best player on the planet. Played with a smile on his face. He'd done things on a football pitch that no one even contemplated trying. Players like Messi and that were looking at him like the Messiah. Mate, he had me just like, I was just transfixed every time he played around that time and beyond that. When he was at Barcelona in that period and the clips we just seen, he was just a joke of a footballer.
The closest thing we've had to Ronaldinho in the modern era is Neymar, and he brought with him his own signature skill, the rainbow flick. It's one of the coolest skill moves if you can pull it off, but it definitely falls more into the showboating category, with it being more style than substance. It's a move that has been around for a while, but I don't think any player has performed the rainbow flick more times in their career than Neymar. He's become known for it. Well, that and diving. Regardless, he has single-handedly kept the spirit of Curlon and Ronaldinho alive in modern football, and for that, we should be grateful.
Is there more talent than Neymar? I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if this exists. More talent, more natural, easy-looking talent than Ney. I don't think it's possible. He combines pretty much everything: speed, dribblings, passing, assisting, finishing, physical ability. I think this is the absolutely whole package.
From Brazilian flair to cold rainy nights in Stoke, the next man on the list is Rory Delap, the sideline specialist known for his long throw-ins. The former Stoke City midfielder had a booming throw on him, and he often utilised it as a weapon whenever his side had a throw-in near the opposition box. Premier League teams just didn't know how to defend against it, and a throw-in for Stoke was comparable to a corner for just about everyone else.
A throw-in was more of a threat with a Rory Delap throw than a corner for Stoke City, wasn't it?
Well, we knew exactly where that throw-in was going and how flat it was.
With Delap racking up a number of assists for his long throws into the penalty area, the Irish international was a javelin champion during his days at school, so it's no surprise he managed to utilise the skill and turn it into a secret weapon. Delap's long throw was that devastating that opposing teams would come up with underhanded ways to try and interfere with the move. From players warming up right behind him to block his run-up, to teams placing extra advertising boards to restrict the sideline. It really was a sight to behold, and was scary enough that former Hull goalkeeper Boaz Myhill once cleared the ball out for a corner, rather than fire it into touch and risk giving away a throw into Stoke. Another player who separated himself from the rest with his unique technique was Mesut Ozil and his bounce kick. Instead of kicking the middle of the ball, Ozil kicks the ball into the ground with the side of his foot. It seems like a normal pass or kick at first, but instead it bounces into the air, giving the defender or goalkeeper no time whatsoever to readjust. It's hard to say whether he invented it or not, but he certainly made it popular. In one-on-one situations, it can be deadly. Depending on how hard he hits it, the ball can get some serious airtime, so it can be used in many different situations.
No. Okay. So if you chip the ball goes slowly to the goal. Okay. So if you do like that, so it's still chip, but it's quicker. Quicker, yes.
I never thought of that.
You do it like that with power, and so the ball is going over the goalkeeper. And don't forget, they are always jumping to left or right. So if they jump, if you show them you will shoot, they do like that, and they are jumping. They never expect that.
It is a very difficult technique, however, and requires lots of poise and control. The same can arguably be said for the trivela, a technique that has been used by many, but perfected most famously by former Portuguese international Ricardo Quaresma. It is a skill that is generally only attempted by the most technically gifted crossers of the ball. The trivela shot looks pretty astounding when it's pulled off. The trivela is a shot or cross taken with the outside of the boot, rather than the usual instep technique, and is great at deceiving both defenders and goalkeepers. Quaresma was the first football player to truly make the outside of the boot technique his own, scoring both his first and last international goals with the trivela. The last entry on the list is one that may not be as popular as the others, but it's way too clean to not include. It's Christian Eriksen and the scoop turn. If you find yourself one-on-one with Christian Eriksen, close your legs and cross your fingers. That's it for the greatest signature moves in football history, and let me know if you'd like a part 2.
Gehouden door Eriksen. Oh, prachtig! Wat een geweldige sleep. En een geweldige poort was dat, zeg. Prupper zal nog wel een paar keer wakker schrikken vannacht als hij dit herbeleeft.